Hey everyone, I'm Mark Sievers and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm excited to show you my new recipe for a beach shack rolls. And I bet you're thinking, what's a beach shack roll? Well, I grew up in New England and went to the beach all year round. Whether it was in the summertime and we ate those little beach shacks that had French fries and really good ice cold ice cream milkshakes, or in other sleepy towns in the fall and winter to year-round restaurants, lobster rolls are on every menu all the time. And in case you didn't know, there's two different styles of lobster rolls. There's the main lobster roll, which is warm lobster meat, warm melted butter, and maybe a little bit of lemon. And then there's a Connecticut style lobster roll, which is typically more of a lobster salad, which has a mayonnaise base. And they're always served in what are called New England style buns. And let me show you what a New England style bun is in case you don't know. I'll give you a little close-up. So a New England style bun are really split top buns just like this that are baked together in a pan. And they have perfectly flat, straight sides, which makes them perfect to load them with butter and toast them till they're nice and golden brown. And of course you can make my beach shack rolls without a New England style bun, but being from New England, I think my family would have been a little unhappy if I didn't ask them to send me those particular rolls so I could make them for Ryan and give them the full New England experience. Well, because I'm a vegetarian and of course don't eat lobster, I still wanted that experience of that New England lobster roll, buttered, nice and crisp, and filled with a delicious filling. So I came up with beach shack rolls. And I remember as a kid, beach shacks were kind of on the boardwalks. They always had super salty French fries and ice cold milkshakes and all kinds of, other nibbles and hamburgers and hot dogs and grilled cheese and lobster rolls, like I said. So this is kind of like my take on that. And they're really made with, as I'm looking, they're really made with classic everyday ingredients, but maybe things that you haven't really seen before. So let's start with what I'm gonna make as the base for the lobster. So if you're not familiar with hearts of palm, I'll show you. Hearts of palm are the inner stalk of the cabbage palm tree, which is a tropical species. And it doesn't look like much. It is really, really nice and soft and kind of sweet. And when you cut it, and what I'm gonna do here is just cut it in half, and then cut those halves in half just like this. See, it starts to kind of shred and pull away. And I don't wanna use anything like imitation crab or anything like that. I wanna use something that is a vegetable because that's what I like to eat. And as you can see, as you start to slice them up and dice them up, they start to break down and it's kind of reminiscent of an artichoke, but it's nice and sweet. I just love them. And that's what's gonna make up the base of this recipe. Now, this recipe has a lot of ingredients, so head over to marksievers.com after the video. I'll leave the link below for the full written recipe. But this is just more of, let me take you along the journey. Let me show you a couple tips and tricks. And seeing me chop things really isn't all that interesting. So, but little tips along the way I think is what you're gonna get out of my beach shack roll video. So, I've put them in this giant bowl, and in here I have sauteed sweet corn and green onions and mayonnaise and shallots and salt and pepper. And I wanna add a few other things. But I think a lot of people have a hard time getting corn off the cob. So let me show you my trick. So I've seen tips where people are laying down kitchen towels and then they're slicing corn on top of that and then taking the whole towel and pouring the corn in. And that just seems like a lot of work. And plus it creates extra laundry. So what I like to do is get the bowl I'm gonna mix in, which I originally did it in this, and take the beautiful sweet corn. Sweet corn for me is a food group in the summer. There's a farmer's market around the corner from my apartment every Tuesday. And every Tuesday from the first week in June to the last weekend of October that there's sweet corn available. We have sweet corn for lunch and dinner with maybe a side salad or other things. But what I'm doing here is just taking off the husk and taking off all that, all of the little bits and pieces and that lovely thread and that gets everywhere, so charming. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the cob of corn, put it right into my bowl, take my knife, and just slice right down the kernels. And what that's gonna do is allow the kernels to fall right into the bowl. And look at how easy that is. And then you don't have to go hunting around your kitchen and on your countertop for all of the kernels of corn. They end up nice and organized right into the bowl. So I'm gonna put those aside for just a minute. And the next thing I'm gonna show you how to do is how to finely dice celery. So because I want something nice and crunchy in this to kind of counterbalance that creamy texture, I have a couple stalks of celery. I've already done one. And I'm just going to take my knife, I cut off the end, cut off the top just a little bit. And the best way to do this, and I'll give you a little close-up here, is take your knife, hold it nice with your thumb and your index finger, and then all I'm gonna do is just make cuts right up, maybe cut this one in thirds. This one's a little bit thinner. And then do straight-sided cuts right down all three sections. And I want this to be about 1/4 of an inch dice. That way there, this will add some nice crunch into the salad. Ryan thinks he hates celery, but he loves my beet shack rolls. So I don't know what to say about that. Next, we need some lemon zest. So we've zested a lot of citrus together, I know, but I always like to show this on camera because I really think it's important to see the difference. Because when you zest citrus at home, when you do it right over your bowl, all of the essential oil that's coming out of that lemon and into that beautiful bright colored skin is getting directly into your bowl versus onto your cutting board where all of the oils will end up. So by doing it over the bowl, you really do get all of the essential oil, which is where all that lemon flavor is. And it doesn't get onto your countertop. So I would say, about 1 small lemon is good. Then we need some dill. Dill is so amazing in this recipe because it really does give like a freshness. Dill has very, very, very tender fronds, F-R-O-N-D-S. I always spell that because for the longest time, I always called them fronds, F-R-A-N-S, fronds. They're fronds, which makes a difference. So about 2 tablespoons of that. That's gonna add some nice freshness. And then of course, my favorite, flat leaf Italian parsley. About, again, 2 tablespoons. Pretty finely minced. Just run your knife right along those stalks, those stems. All of the parsley stems and the dill fronds you can keep in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. You can then make stock out of it. Check out my recipe for freezer stock. I'll link it below for you because it's a really good way to preserve all of the little ends and bits, especially as we're getting into the summer months where fresh herbs and vegetables are going to be everywhere in the farm stands and farmers markets or even in your own garden. So, pretty finely minced. We don't want to pulverize it. About 2 tablespoons, that looks good. And Then we need Old Bay seasoning. So I already have salt and pepper in here, but Old Bay seasoning is classic with seafood, and it has it's a very complex flavor, and it really does give you that beautiful taste of the ocean, and it kind of reminds you of that luxurious seafood. So making hearts of palm into luxurious seafood just takes a little Old Bay seasoning. And then I'm gonna give this a stir. So the wonderful thing about this particular mix, as you can see, I'll give you a close-up here, is it really is just like it looks kind of like a pasta salad, really. All right, let's give it a little taste. It's so good. You have the sweetness of the corn, the kind of tenderness from the hearts of palm, all of the fresh herbs, that crunchy celery, and that little kick from Old Bay seasoning. So you can pile this inside of the toasted hot dog buns, or even on a slider bun as little mini sliders. You can serve this on a bed of greens as a salad. You can even pack this in your cooler at the beach and eat it with some potato chips as a little dip. So a great summer recipe, and something that you can really make a couple hours ahead of time, let it sit, let those flavors develop even better, and beach shack rolls. Who knew? Head over to marcsievers.com for this full written recipe, of course, and many, many others. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And remember, hit the little notification bell so you're notified of new videos as soon as they post. Until next time, see you guys later. Good night. I'm just gonna have more because it's so good. This recipe and more can be found on my website, marcsievers.com. Thanks for watching.